everybody. We are back. Welcome back to Let's Chat. I'm Miss Lissha, and I got my right hand, and most of the time, she is my left, the fabulous Miss Toni. Honey, we're talking that talk, y'all. We had the fabulous Terry Ann Johnson on.
Mm-hmm. It was amazing.
Yes, I'm so excited. Hey, everybody, let's shout out our chat room. Oh, shout out Yolanda Sweet Chocolate Crippen. Shout out Robert Mindock, Niecy Jones Parsons. Hey, boo. SF Hardy. Hey. Arthur Oshaya. I think that's we could tear her name up. I'm not even gonna lie to you. We could tear her name up. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. We are back. Welcome to Let's Chat. Oh, something in my eye.
Mm-hmm. But Terry brought up some great points. You know, Lee, she's only been in the literary business for a couple of years, but she sounds like someone that has a hold on what she's doing and where she wants to go. You know, she has that confidence to know that she can do it. You know, and it's all about learning the business. You know, when you take it seriously, the business will take you seriously.
Absolutely. And she has great mentors.
Yes.
You know, it's very important to have mentors, whether you have a tribe or you have a group that you interact with, or if you're in a writing club, a book club, all of those things are really important. That support system that's needed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, you know, you speak of clubs, Lisa and I, you know, we have gone through a number of Victoria Christopher Murray's boot camps, but, you know, she has banned us because she says there's nothing more that I could teach you guys. But we still try to get in the back door any way we can or anytime we can because our classes are awesome.
Yes, we were put out and banned.
But that don't mean we don't try.
Absolutely. And for all of those who are looking for a writing workshop, Ian Joy, I'm sorry, y'all, something is still in my eye. Ian Joy has a writing workshop on tomorrow from 3 to 5. Make sure you guys check it out. Tomorrow at 4, from 4 to 5, I will be facilitating a Black Authors Matters tour panel. Black Men That Write. Make sure you guys check it out on tomorrow. I'm so excited. Shout out to Nico.
Mm-hmm. So what is it that you're going to be doing, Leash? Is it going to be like a live or it's just like Q&A?
It's going to be a live Q&A. Mm-hmm.
Okay, a live like we're doing now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, you know, with COVID, a lot of things are shut down. So doing it on scene during this time, you know, but Nico works really hard to organize and get everything together.
Mm-hmm. I remember the night that we met him. I think that was when we were at Christy Lux's. Was that the night we met Nico? I think I met him that night. He was at I want to say Christy Lux thing when she left the magazine a couple of years ago.
I don't know if it was Christy's event. I know that I did media. Remember, I did media for Nico for Black Authors Matters tour when it was at the Women's Expo year before last.
Mm-hmm. I want to say I met him that night. I remember.
If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he does stay busy though.
He really does, but he is a jewel. He absolutely is a jewel. So we are back, y'all. We talking about it. Mm-hmm. You know, we talked about it on yesterday. Folks are still answering that post. See, we done stepped on some toes and ruffled some feathers.
And rolling them up in tar.
Listen, folks is like, listen, I ain't even worried about the back seat. I'm driving.
That's a good one.
I love it, but that video. Okay, so what was your thought about that video?
It was definitely. I see what you meant when you said that there was some things going on in the background because there was definitely some underlying issues that hadn't been addressed by any of them. That has just gone along for who knows how long. So, and that may have just been the tipping point. A sister girl who owns the car, and the mother is sitting up in the front, and the husband is
Listen.
driving. And where is she supposed to go?
Okay, so this is my question though. When there is conflict, a lot of men have the avoidance thing. Don't send us no inboxes. Yes, we said it. But they have this avoidance thing going on. Who, what is the process when there is conflict between a mother, between your spouse and your mother, or a spouse and your father? What is that process for any man to step in to try to delegate that? Um, what do you think, T?
First
Well,
of
we've
all,
already established that there ain't no conflict because T is the queen. But go ahead.
I would never, be put myself in a situation like that. That's just not me. I don't handle my business out in the street. And if there is a conflict, you just have to own it. You have to own it and be held accountable and talk it out. But if it's me, like if it was me and his mother-in-law, then that's his mother. You know, you got to handle that. This is that's his handle. I'll handle my mom. You handle yours. But I've never been in a I've never been put in a situation like that, so I can't even honestly ask how I would react. At least honestly, but I can't see me being in a position like that.
Absolutely. For if y'all didn't see the video, we have it posted on our page. But she was livid, and there are some things, and I said this on the post originally with April Mason. She talked about the video as well.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes you set the tone on how your spouse or partner treats, um, or your mother or family member treats your spouse. That's part of you protecting them. That's part of you covering them.
Right.
And if you don't make it so that they know that they have no choice but to respect that person, they're not. You set the tone for that.
Hmm.
If you don't show her the respect that she deserves, or if you don't show him the respect that he deserves, other people are going to start disrespecting them, and they're going to feel it's okay to
Hmm.
disrespect them.
Hmm.
What do
And
you think about that, T?
I agree, and also that respect goes even further. Even if I'm not there, I know that he has me covered. He's not gonna let
Mhm.
no one else disrespect me, so I don't even have to be in the vicinity.
Exactly,
You know.
exactly. Some people think, well, you got to be right there. No, you don't. You
Mm-mm.
don't have to be right there. He should be able to cover and protect you,
No matter
at
what.
all times.
Right. That's just my opinion.
Absolutely. So as we wait for our guests to stroll in, we are so excited. We had a great interview with Terry Ann Johnson. Y'all
Hmm.
make sure y'all head over to Amazon, get your one click pop in.
That sounds
Kai's
like a
book
great
drops.
series. That sounds like a
Yeah,
great series, Leash.
them covers, listen, them covers are everything. I love Anela Cott. Pronounce that name.
Nale- Nalena? Nalena?
Nalena Kai. I
Right.
just call her Kai because I can mess up a last name. But her covers are always on point. Always
Mhm.
on
Nice
point.
and crisp.
Always clean and crisp. Absolutely. And her pen matches her covers. So
Hmm.
y'all don't think just because it's a cute cover, she don't have no pen. She
Hmm.
know what she know what she doing.
Absolutely. And if you don't know, head on over to those archives and check her out. We had her on the show last week, and she was amazing. It was so refreshing to hear her passion. Even though she's been in the business for a minute, she's still passionate about it. And her son does an awesome job on her covers. And we're going to have him on the show shortly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now T, so much going on in the world, so much going on in the news. What are your thoughts just on the state of publishing, just from an editor's point of view?
From an editor's point of view, I haven't really given it much thought, but I think that publishing needs to be held accountable to the quality of work that they put out. You don't necessarily have to put out book after book after book, like we were talking about last night. You want to, and on many of our other shows, that quality just speaks volumes. I mean, I would spend money on a quality book, knowing that I'm getting a quality book, even if it's hardcover. Remember how we used to just have to buy before ebooks? We used
Yeah.
to buy those hardcover books, 14.99, 29.99.
Mm-hmm.
I had no problem dropping those coins on those books because I knew that I was getting a good book. And it wasn't necessarily street lit because I wasn't even really into that at that point. But quality over quantity gets my vote every single time. Now you're on a different level of the literary aspect than I am, and I know that you expect quality from your clients. How do you feel
Uh,
about it?
and I agree. You have to. First of all, you have to, like Terry was saying, if you guys missed her interview, just go back and check it out because she dropped some great jewels. Organization is key.
Yes.
Being organized. You have to organize your thoughts,
Hmm.
and don't get stuck on the distracted on minor details of chapter numbers. Like this is chapter 1 through 4. This is chapter
Hmm.
because a book is like a puzzle. Chapter 1 may not fit where you've put it. It may not fit until chapter 6.
Hmm.
The whole thing is to get it out of your head and onto paper, get it organized and sent out because you don't want to send anything out that's the one not edited
Right.
and not organized.
Right.
So there are some things when it comes, especially when self-publishing, you can't cut corners with.
Hmm. And it may not even necessarily be for that book. Just get it out because it could be for some other project that you have, an upcoming
Absolutely,
project. You want to get it out because while it's fresh, and if you do need it at one point, it may not necessarily come out the way you originally thought it. So get it out.
absolutely. And I say create like a parking lot. So when you're deleting something out, don't delete it. Just take it out and put it in the parking lot because whatever that thought is, that thought can probably be used towards another book, towards another part of the chapter. So if you're
Mhm.
taking something out because it doesn't fit there, it fits somewhere.
Mhm.
And you want to save that content, save those thoughts.
Mhm. That's a good point, Leash. And then you wonder how some authors end up with like tons and tons and tons of material. If I was an author, I would never delete or throw away anything, but it has to be organized so that you can go back and put your hand on whatever it is that you need to retrieve.
I definitely agree. We're waiting for Lori to come in here. I'm just gonna go and get her.
Okay. But like Lish was saying, we're gonna go up to I think in October, Lish. We have our big finale, season finale.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm working on some things. I'm working on getting some, and for this particular show, I'm very being very strategic on who I have on. So I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. So you guys tune in. You're gonna be dropping little nuggets and jewels up until that point. No reveal until about a week or so, right, Leash? Before.
Nope, I'm not revealing. Not until closer to um, the date we're gonna have it.
So make sure you guys stay tuned. That's exciting. Well, it looks like she is pulled up into the parking lot.
Absolutely. All right. So we have the fabulous Lori Hayes coming to kick it with us in the chat room. Hey, Lori.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Lori.
Hi. I'm in my car, so I'm gonna try to make this like the most best view I can give you guys.
That's okay. We
That's
understand.
fine.
Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your literary journey.
Okay, excellent. So I'm Lori Hayes. I am a new author. My literary journey started. Oh goodness, I can't even remember. It's probably like 7 or 8 years ago when I was a huge fangirl of authors and somehow got recognized by another type of podcast. I think it was Authors on the Air, and the owner of that recruited me to become a host on her network.
Mm-hmm.
So then I got to talk to authors, which was super awesome because you guys are brilliant. Well, now I'm brilliant too, I guess. But but the authors are, just brilliant. I love creative people. They just speak to my soul. So
Yes.
um, so I got to have these conversations with these people, with these authors, like sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, and it was fantastic. And my show was very much just like a conversation. So I'd ask them a bunch of questions and they'd answer. It was not like a formal interview at all. It was like a coffee chat that people would say. But I realized that there was a gap. So I'm talking to these authors, I'm asking them about their craft, but I know nothing about it. So I decided that I'm going to write myself. I'm going to go through the whole process. I'm going to write this silly little erotica book because I don't know why that was the genre that I decided to jump on. And then I'm going to go through an editor. I'm going to pick out a cover model. I'm going to have a cover designer. I'm going to do all these things so that I can understand what the full process was. And so that's how Red Reverie was born. That's my pen name for my erotica collection. And then fast forward to now, I've been following Lisa Woodson, Nelena Kai. I'm going to mess up everything today. I apologize. For years since on my radio show, she was so gracious to be of assistance to me when I was struggling with an author that was supposed to come on my show who wrote a book I just couldn't read, and I didn't know how to approach that. So I was asking her for some tips on how to facilitate that conversation, as she's so experienced in the industry. And then I've been following her since then. And then last year, fell in love with the Kings of the Castle. I got to go to a Cavalcade event in Chicago. I got to meet a bunch of authors. I read one of the books from every author that was going to be there because I wanted to be prepared. And in like 3 weeks. And then Lisa gave me the opportunity to join the tribe. And now here I am. I've finished and now am revising my very first novel and never really saw myself here.
Absolutely. So I want to go back because we're not going to act like you didn't just say what you just said about your first book being erotica. You fast. Okay, so tell us why you chose an erotica book. Why did you choose that genre? Or was it more like you were going towards romance and it just turned out to be a little bit extra?
Well, I'm always a little bit extra. I don't even know, really. I think one of the people on the network he was a good friend of mine, and we were chatting back and forth. I'm like, I want to write something, but I don't know what to write. Most of the authors I interviewed on my network happen to be horror authors, and I have no idea. I'm not even a horror fan, but they were just like super attracted to my show, maybe because nobody else wanted them, and I would take anybody. But I was chatting with him, and then he's like, you have this little spice to you. Maybe you should try this. And I'm like, let me see what happens. So I have a huge fantasy. It was in the fantasy brain. It was in the time of 50 Shades of Grey, which I know everybody has their opinions about that, but it was the first piece of erotica literature that I have ever read in my entire life. So now, other juices are flowing. And so it was hot. It was a hot topic. And I'm like, I think I can do that. So I did. I picked up the computer because I don't write with my hands anymore, and started just typing out like things that were brewing in my own brain, little crazy fantasies that I have. I'd see like a hot guy and I'd be like, he's in a story. I have one of the stories was about a yellow Mustang convertible, which is what I told my husband was the only car I'd ever have sex in. So there's a story about that. I don't know why, because I don't ever want to have car sex, and so that was the big girl. It's not very comfortable. There's no top.
You get the smallest car and let it be known, like, listen, that's about it.
Every time we see one on the road, I'm like, yellow Mustang convertible, black leather interior. What you gonna do about it?
I love it.
Now, I'm sorry, Leash, but somebody in our chat wants to know if your husband is in the story.
No. Did I say that out loud? I mean, when I wrote it, we were married for 10 years. And, at 10 years at that point, like, he really wasn't on the spicy side of my brain at that time. We had 2 kids that were young. And so, like, this book was me branching out and like putting my life aside and living in this little fantasy world in each story. So I wouldn't say that I am the subject of all of them, but there's little pieces of me in all of the stories that are there. And with Lisa's support, I'll be rewriting those. And instead of that being a collection of short stories, probably each of the couples are going to have their own like maybe short novel.
Ooh, that's
So
gonna be
that'll be interesting.
nice.
Yeah, it'll be cool to kind of revisit them. I've read it again recently when I started talking to Lisa, and like I'm shocked that I wrote some of that stuff.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna ask, how did your husband feel? Did you let him read it?
I mean, it's on Amazon. If he wanted to read it, he could, but I don't know if he
Well, she
ever
said I did not volunteer my services. She said I didn't volunteer it. Now, if he can go
Yeah.
sneak it, that's different. But I didn't volunteer any other tasty treats. No, sir.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting time in my marriage. And I say this with complete transparency, knowing that he'll probably watch this. And,
Hey,
we've now been married. He's at home tending to the children. I've been in North Dakota for work all week, and I'm driving home today. So, but it was one of those times in your marriage where you kind of wonder which direction this is going to go, right?
Yeah.
And so we've definitely evolved in the last 7 years. We've been together, it'll be 19 years this year, and 17 married. So but at that time, I think he was kind of exploring his own thing, and I was definitely exploring my own thing, virtually. And I had my radio show, and there was some communication challenges and stuff there. It wasn't the best time in our marriage, but we're good now. And so that's why I can say this without worrying.
But every relationship has a reset period, because people grow. And if you go into a relationship with the idea that that person is going to stay the same forever, or you're expecting that person to stay the same, that expectation is because you don't want to have to make changes and change on your own. So normally it's normal and healthy to have a reset period, kind of like where you guys recalibrate everything. And sometimes people reset together and sometimes they reset apart. But it's a good thing that you guys were able to get that reset and then start up a whole new section or level of your relationship. Because I always say marriage has levels. And when you fail to go from level 1, which is the ground level, to level 2, that's when most of the problems happen. You got to level up and be able to go into that next level of, especially a marriage, because I think it just has so many layers to it, and growth is required for both of you guys.
Right. Absolutely. 100%.
It's so true.
Now, how have you grown from the first time you picked up your book to now? How have you grown as a woman? How have you grown as an author?
So at the time that I was writing that, I was really starting to undiscover myself. I was trying to figure, I'm a plus size woman. I've always been kind of on the outside of any social group that I've been in. We were living in Alabama. I was a less conservative type of person living in Alabama for 9 years. So I didn't necessarily agree with a lot of people there. So I didn't have a network. My network was virtual, and I was totally okay with that. And then we moved to Wisconsin. So around that time, I had left the network. I was on a podcast. We moved from Alabama to Wisconsin, a whole life reset. And since then, I think I've accepted myself as who I am. I'm owning the fact that I'm a strong, beautiful, plus size woman, and I'm going to continue to work on improving my health and my fitness levels so that I can be the strongest version of myself every day. And I no longer worry about what other people think. My husband and I have great communication because of work that we've both done internally and externally in our relationship. And now I feel like the level of writing that the way that I can transfer that to my writing, even outside of the night of Birmingham, is going to be life experience. Some of the challenges that I've been through are going to translate into the literature that I create. The understanding in my parenting journey, in my personal journey, in my romantical journey, whatever. So I'm more confident. I think that if Lisa had approached me, 10 years ago, I'd probably be like, "You're crazy." But when she asked me, I'm like, "Wow!" I'm like, I need to see in myself what she sees in me, so that I can do what I know that I'm capable of. And I think I wasn't at that place 10 years ago.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
That's a key point that you just shared, Lori. You know, it's not like you gain confidence overnight. You know, that confidence, I mean, I may see something in you that you don't necessarily see in yourself, but you have to believe it. But speak on how you came to accept that confidence and put it into your writing and put it into your personal life. How did you come about, you know, just embracing your confidence?
So I can't take full credit for it myself. I had a friend
Really?
who I was talking to. He was the manager of the network that I was on. He and I became really good friends. And I would talk with him about some of the challenges that I was experiencing in my marriage and with other people and just in life in general. And he was brilliant, like just had this beautiful brain. And so he would, every time I would say anything that would like knock myself down, he would call me on it. And he'd be like,
Mhm.
"No, this is you need to change what you just said." So I think over the year or so that we were friends, those tidbits that he put, those seeds that he planted in my brain about myself and my self-worth, started to grow. you
Mhm.
know, they were planted and they started to grow. And boy, did it take long. I don't know what kind of plant, maybe a tree takes forever to get really tough. But and since then it's been like a super big roller coaster, right? Because I go through these levels of confidence where like I'm going to conquer the world. I think in my
Mhm.
bio it says that I'm training to finish a marathon. Well, my
Mhm.
goal was to finish my marathon this year, and I got to like 8 weeks of training, and then COVID happened.
Oh boy.
All of my races were canceled, and then I had shoulder surgery. So now I'm taking a few steps back, but this time it's not because I gave up on myself. This is like
Absolutely.
the fifth time that I've given up. So I don't know if this will work. I have a tattoo
Mhm.
here. I
Mhm.
can't. Anyway, it says persevere. So I have one that says persevere. I have one that says I can and I will. I'm getting one that's going to have flowers that represent patience. So I give myself my confidence taglines and the things that help me motivate myself on my skin so that it's there permanently, so I can't take it back. So it's a continuing growth. I'm still not. I don't know if we ever get there on that
Right.
confidence level.
Right.
But I think that with the way that it ebbs and flows, it's going to help me be able to create more realistic characters that are relatable to people that may have gone through some of the things that I've gone through, or
Right.
maybe are going through something, or maybe they will in the future, and they'll be able to reflect back on something that I've written that they read that will help them through whatever it is that they're experiencing.
Mm.
Absolutely. So tell us about the new book. What can we expect?
So you are going to meet my two characters who are totally they've never met before. Knight of Birmingham. Knight of Birmingham. Rory is a he he lives in Birmingham, but he opened up a shelter in the Middle East. And because his family was brought back to Birmingham after his mom married a Islamic man who took her back to Dubai and then never let her leave.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so,
Wow.
so his family was rescued by one of the Knights of the Castle from the original series, and they um, they brought them back to and really took their family under their wing when they were back in Birmingham.
Mhm.
So that's Rory, and then why am I blinking? Megan. Sorry, I'm like, what is my girl's name? Oh my goodness. I don't get nervous. What's this? Megan is she's a woman who lives in Alabama, who's been raised in Alabama. She was raised by a lesbian black couple who
Mm-hmm.
were in the inner city because her mom was super depressed after her dad died in a car accident. So she was raised by this couple and she wanted to become a lawyer. She had a trust fund from when her father passed away that was put aside for her college education. And so she went to law school and she started working in the DA's office, and found that that wasn't a very accepting environment of women, nor did it align with her beliefs. So she left the DA's office to create her own nonprofit. And within her nonprofit, she gets into all kinds of interesting things with the women that she's treating. She's treating women that are in a treatment center, or I guess it's a home right after they are released from prison, a transitional home.
Mhm.
Um, and then they start going missing. And one of the people going missing is one of her best friends.
Oh wow.
So, ultimately, they go missing somewhere that is aligned with Rory, and then that's how they get connected. And then they really come together when it comes to rescuing the women, and then that's really where their story unfolds.
Oh,
Absolutely.
wow.
Right. So I got questions
Those
now.
dynamics.
Right. I got questions
Okay.
because what was it like writing your first male character from a male's point of view? What was that process like for you?
It's still a process. It's different, right? Because the stories that I'd written before were largely in the first person, and so this is not. And they were largely from a female perspective, and this is not. So I'm not even sure if I'm there. I'm anxiously anticipating. I'm in the process of revising it to go with some of the things that I've learned from
Mhm.
the tribe, and just being able to speak from his perspective. I hope I've got it. I've had a lot of male friends, so I'm relating to a lot of the way that they think, just in conversations that I've had through relationships I've had. But it's definitely different than writing from my own perspective, because I want to make everything sound like me, and I realize that when you're writing a book, it's not all about me. In fact, this has nothing to do with me. So
Absolutely. But they're all pieces of you. You know, they're all pieces or shades of Lori. And so even if it's a male character, you know, it is a shade or a piece of you that you're placing in it, or an idea that you have, maybe that's planted inside. And so we're excited because you have a lot of twists, a lot of turns
Mhm.
that you're taking your readers through, which is the best part. You know, and you know, here on Let's Chat, we're book bougie, and we really believe that if it's gonna be nasty, let it be nasty. If not, just send them to Starbucks, let them have coffee, some conversation, maybe a scone, but that's about it.
well, it was really hard not to get all the way nasty, because that tends to be where I go, like in everything. Just ask my kids. Unfortunately, my partner. Oh boy, the stories they can tell. Um, but let's just say that they are not afraid to talk about anything. Um, but anyway, so it was hard for me not to go all the way there, because that's not really what the Knights of the Castle are. It's not really what everything is so classy and so
Yeah.
romantic. Like in all of the Knights of the Kings of the Castle, it went there, so that just enough to let you just think about what's going to happen when that door closes.
Uh,
Which I that's my probably my favorite part of um like not so erotica, like erotica type. I don't even know what the word for it is. Anyway, I love that. Like that. So I'm trying to emulate a little bit of that in this story. So there are some spicier scenes, but not
uh,
nearly as spicy as I
Mhm.
like. I gotta save that for the other thing I'm doing.
So see, Lori, now you planted that seed. Now, Lisa and I, right before you came on, we were talking about, just write and put it out there and put it on paper, even though it may not necessarily fit what you're working on now. But do
Mhm.
you feel that a book is in your belly to get out, where you can just let it all out and just be as spicy as you want it to be?
I don't know that I have a spicy one right now. That's like what's been going around in my brain is rewriting the stories of the people in the book that I had previously self-published,
Mhm.
the Red Reverie side. So I've been trying to figure out like how do I develop those characters and give them like a true novella. The stuff that's been brewing in my head is more on the parenting side of things, because I've lived through the hell of middle school with one child, and my second child is going into the second year of middle school, and so I've been like the one thing that I can't get out of my brain is writing um, like an Adventures of Middle School Parenting kind of thing to help
mhm.
parents that are, but not like the stuffy parent self help book on the thing. Is no. This is how we talked about when the kid tried to commit suicide and we had to call the cops, and
Oh,
this is
boy,
how we had to talk
keeping it
about
real.
when her best friend was sending naked selfies as a 12-year-old.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So, you know, like so
Listen,
I'm
that's
glad I'm past those years.
oh my God. Well, it's been kind of a relief to have them at home and not have to deal with a lot of the drama. My daughter's
absolutely.
supposed to start high school this year, and so I have this whole thing drafted out, each year for the girl, each year for the boy, and then it goes into high school, and then it concludes with like that transition period. Like, what do I do now? I don't have anybody to write about. So
and it's funny you said that, because as children, when we think about books that we've read, whether it was Super Fudge, Super Fudge was the thing back in the day, and you were able to follow this character through these experiences. It's nice to be able to get the parent side of it, like when they want to leave, like the one part of Super Fudge where he puts on his backpack and he acts like he's going somewhere after they found out they were having another baby. It's like, what was the parents' point of view? What was in their mind? Like, he'll be back.
How did we make this mistake? Oh.
So I'm glad you I think that's going to be a great series, and a fun series to write for you.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's like it's just constantly on my brain with every text message my kids send me when I'm on a work trip, or whatever drama. I mean, there's just so many things that have come up, like when I thought that my daughter was super open and we had this great relationship, and then I found out that she's been secretly suffering for weeks and crying in her room at night, and my son is who told me about it. So just the things that you realize when you think you're doing a really awesome job, and then you figure out that you're not so much.
Absolutely.
So I got to figure that out. And then I have the opportunity to write for 2 of the anthologies that are coming out. And one of them is Spicier, and it's going to be my first time writing a lesbian couple.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's going to be male influence in there. That'll be interesting. But so that'll be fun. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to research that one.
I was about to ask you, with the COVID going on, how are you doing your research for your books?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of free websites. No. I don't know. I'm like stuck in the night of Birmingham right now, trying to get this revision done so I can get it out for editing. And then but that story keeps floating around in my brain, and some of it I think I'll be able to handle. That not so much on the lesbian nature of it, because there's going to be somewhat of a male influence, but I will have to have some conversations with people that are open to have, to talk about sex with me. I've never had a woman lesbian friend that I've talked openly about sex with. Girlfriends, we talk about it all the time. Even guy friends, I talk about it, but it never really had a conversation with a lesbian couple about it, or friends. So, I want to make sure that I'm respectful of them when I facilitate those conversations. But I just finished a community organizing training here in the Milwaukee area, and one of the things I talk a lot about are one-on-ones. So maybe this is a good opportunity to exercise that new skill I have in
Absolutely.
having one-on-ones.
and that's true, because you can kind of do a one-on-one on your page, do a live, and just make it a topic and just talk about it, or ask the question. And ask who is willing to be open to just ask some questions, answer some questions for you. There's so many ways that you can do it. But I want to know how you balance everything. You're a mom, you're a wife, you work, you're an author. How do you balance everything?
It was so much easier 10 years ago to do all of the things. I just turned 40 this year. And I find myself like trying to answer that question for myself a lot lately. I thought that being that I have this job that I could travel all the time, that I would have all this time in the evenings in the hotel room all by myself to be able to check all those boxes of the lists that I need to do. But I find that I'm actually tired after driving, 600 miles a day.
Right.
So I'm still trying to figure that out, especially with everything that's been going on with COVID. My kids have been in my face literally every single second of every day. Every day. This is the first week that I've traveled alone. Oh wait, maybe I went on one trip on one day that I didn't take them with me. But yeah, this is the first week that I've traveled alone for work. And so just trying to get back into that routine and trying to figure out, I'm going to keep my kids home, whether the district does or not, at least for the first part of the year.
Yeah.
So I've got to figure out, like, I suck at structure and routine, which is a big challenge. And so I attribute that to the creative part of my brain. My room is a mess. My desktop is a mess. Every month I have to purge my desktop and put it into folders. So like it's still not even organized. They just looks more organized in their own folders. And I type in the search bar when I need something and it works perfect.
Mhm.
But so figuring out like when do I schedule this time? Lisa's big on making sure that you have a set amount of 30 minutes a day that you're going to write. And for me, I'm like, well, where do I fit that 30 minutes in? And so I've tried it at multiple different times. But my new goal that I set for myself in August is to get my rear end out of bed at 4 a.m. Um,
Woo!
and get my exercising done. Give myself an hour to read and write, and then start my day. But I don't know if it's going to work. I told myself I want to try. That's my bonus goal. I have some other goals, but that's my bonus goal. One of the non-bonus goals is to write 2,500 words a day. And then the bonus goal is to get my butt out of bed at 4 a.m. and I want to do it at least 5 days a week. So I'm hoping that will be able next, like if we ever chat again, then you'll be able to ask me that question. How do you find balance? And they'll be like, I'm a morning person and I wake up and I get all the things done and then I start my day and it's like it never happened. But I don't know if it can happen. It might be like, oh my God, I don't even know. I'm out of my mind.
Right.
Sending in pages and things.
Listen. You said 4 a.m. You had me there. I was like, listen.
It's literally the only time that I could have to myself in my house with the kids home all the time. It's like that's like 3 hours before my husband gets out of bed. It's like 12 hours before my kids get out of bed. So
Well,
that's what it feels like when she wakes up at noon. I'm like, really? You just now rolled out of bed?
Well, because they're like, listen, I don't have no school. You
Yeah.
know, for them, it's been summer vacation since March. They're like, what do you mean, homeschool? Homework.
Yeah. You're in for a rude awakening come September.
Absolutely. Listen, a very rude awakening when it's time to get up and you've been up all night, all day doing what you want to do, and then you have to go back to that box. So yes, absolutely. Now, here on Let's Chat, this is your first time, won't be your last, because we got to have you back on, because we love to talk that girl talk with you.
All right.
But we like to do something fun here with our guests on our show. We're not going to do too much for you, only because it's your first time, and we want you to have a good experience.
Okay. I mean, I'm down for anything, so do whatever.
I don't come up with any other questions. That's all, Toni. I don't know. I don't know.
Great.
She gets all of that.
don't worry, Lori. Don't worry. You got this, girl.
Go ahead, Dee.
Okay, first of all, Lori, thank you so much. We know you're busy. We can see you in your car, so we appreciate you spending some of your time with us. But your fun question is going to be easy tonight. With COVID, we've been doing a lot of cooking, a lot of eating, and a lot of interaction with our kids, and you have 2 of your own. But if you were a box of morning cereal, what would you be and why?
I have to say Captain Crunch with berries.
Oh,
Ooh.
Because I'm the leader of my ship, but I've got a little flair. So those little berries are my little spice, my little flair, because they mix it and it adds the color to the crunch. So I'm not always the captain and the boring little yellow pieces. Sometimes I throw in a little bit of fun.
So the yellow and blue in there. The pink and blue little berries. Okay, look at that.
Right.
The actual pink and blue berries. No more of those.
We so appreciate you coming to kick it with us here on the chat room. We want you to shout out all of your social media where everyone can get your books, any virtual events or book signings that you have coming up.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for having me on as a new author. I don't have anywhere that I'm going to be just yet. Is anybody going to be anywhere? But you can visit me at www.authorlorihays.com. I'm also on Facebook as Author Lori Hayes and on Instagram as Author Lori Hayes. And then you can find my, if you want to learn about, the other side of my life that's not related to books, I'm also on Instagram as Lori Hayes, and I have a public page. You can see all my adventures there.
Awesome.
Absolutely. We so appreciate you coming to kick it with us in the chat room. We want you to travel safe, and we will see you soon.
Thank you. It was great to meet you guys. Thanks for
Nice
having
to
me.
meet
Have a
you
great
too.
night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye bye. I love it. I love it. She said spicy. And then now she said extra spicy. I'm like, extra spicy? What you got going on over there,
Now,
Lori?
she done add a spice to her cereal, Leash, with those little her Captain Cruncher berries.
I love it. The one thing I'm gonna say is I love when we get authors to come on here, because the one thing I will say, every last one of these authors we have had on here all have websites. If you do not have a website, shame, shame, shame.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, your books have to have a home. I don't mean a Facebook page. I mean a home. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
that you have. It could be a simple website. It could be just like a one-page website, but make sure that your books have a home. So that's the one thing I can say. All of these authors that have come on, they all have websites.
Right.
And that's very important, especially in branding. We
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you guys kicking with us here in Let's Chat. We're going to take a brief break. We will be back with our next fabulous guest, J.L. Woodson. He is not just an author, he is a fabulous graphic designer. And we're going to get to talk that talk with him. We will see you guys in a few short moments. Thanks for
Okay.
chilling with us, and let's chat. We'll be back.
Okay.